Hello there. We are live. Hi there. My name is Merete. I'm your instructor tonight or today or whatever time it is at your place. We'll be starting in just a minute. I can see the attendee count going up here. So I'll be just waiting a little bit before I start. You're very welcome to write in the chat here right beside me, whether you can hear me or not, if you can see me or not. If you have problems hearing or seeing me, I have written a little direction in the top of the chat. And if all else fails, if you should lose connection to the video and can't get to it during for one reason or another during the webinar, you can use the direct YouTube link I have put in the sticky message on top. And it will take you to YouTube, where this is being live broadcasted. Then you can't see the chat, or you can still have the chat window open. But if you can't see the video, that is a possibility for you. So, and you can see in the chat, it is like this. Oh, if sound and video isn't in sync, it might be in your end. You could try hitting F5 to refresh your screen and see if that would fix it. It usually does. The webinar is approximately an hour. I'll give you the outline in just a minute when we're sure that the techniques are working. What we'll do is, this is basically a Hangouts webinar. And that means that there's a slight delay between 30 seconds and a minute between what I'm saying as I'm sitting here speaking to my computer, my camera, and what you see. So when you type something, a question, for instance, in the chat, it will take about a minute. If I answer it instantly, it will take between 30 seconds and a minute before you get the answer, because I get the text message instantly, but since there's a delay in the video presentation, even if I answer it instantly, you will not get the answer until 30 seconds to a minute later. Super. So I can see you can write in the chat. There is, if you have a question, please mark it with, if you forget it, it's not a problem, but it will make it easier for me to keep track of the questions. There is a mark as question, small mark as question box just on top of the space where you'll do the chat. And if you do that, your question will be marked in red on the chat log, so I can see, oh, there's a question, I have to consider that. Yes, so I think that was the technicalities. Feel free to ask any question. I might not answer them right away, but I will answer all the questions you have, depending on the time left and stuff like that, of course. But I will answer your questions. I might save some of the questions for the end of the webinar, so that people with a limited time frame that have to be gone in an hour can get the planned portion first, and then we'll do most of the questions in the end. Yep. So, as I said, this is the webinar, Get Back, Regain Your Confidence on Horseback. It will be about an hour. I will start by telling you a bit, just very shortly, about myself, about why I'm doing this. Then you will have a large portion of advice, content, tips, things you can go out and do with your horse later today, tomorrow, during the weekend, to try and help yourself regain confidence. Practical, down-to-earth tips and tricks you can go out and do straight away. And then in the end, I will be telling you, if you're sitting back there and say, ooh, I want more of this, I have to learn, I can see where this is going and I want more. Well, I have a program. I have been doing that in Danish for most of a year now, and it works very, very well. And I will be providing you with an opportunity to join that. But I'll do that in the end of the webinar. So feel free, watch all the content. If you don't want to hear about any more offers, no problem. So, my name is, as I said, Merete. I'm a riding instructor from Denmark. I do this for a living. I have kids who come to ride here. I have adults who come and have lessons on some of my horses. I go out to teach. I do clinics, and I do online courses. I think we are 2 riding instructors in Denmark at the moment doing online courses, and I'm one of them. So, and I've been doing online courses for 2.5 years now. And I started doing online courses on clicker training and learning and behavior because people said, well, we can't get you, I can't gather enough people for a clinic. But I found out, well, this is easy. I don't have to go anywhere. People don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to trailer your horse to go to a clinic. You don't have to collect at least 10 people who want to join this clinic. I can get out to normally everywhere in Denmark and now all over the world. So that's fabulous. You can sit inside in your comfort with a cup of coffee and listen to what I have to say. And when this is over, you can go and revisit the video over and over and over again if there's specific parts that you would like to see again. I will be providing you with a link for the direct to the YouTube video, so you can watch it again and again, and going forward and backwards. You will also have a link to a replay that is exactly like this, where you can see all the chat entries, but of course it's just not live. But then you can't go forwards and backwards. So you will have both. Best of both worlds. Yeah. And then why am I doing confident on horseback webinars? Well, that was because I've been really, really scared. I had a horse who used to spook a lot. She would come riding and then she would turn around and run the other way, and she was really easy to stop, and I didn't usually fall off. But I just got so tense and so scared deep down because I didn't know when she would do something like that again. And even in the good periods we had, I was still scared. So I have been bringing this anxiety with me from horse to horse. And it has been building up for like, I think 15 years or something. So a couple of years ago, I found out I really had to work on this because it was really tightening me in and putting a stop to a lot of things I would like to do. So I have been working really hard on this, working with some excellent people. And now I found out that many of the people I teach to ride at the moment are people with some sort of fright or anxiety or unconfidence issues. And I figured out, well, somebody asked me, hey, can't you do that as an online course? Because, well, we would like that. And I was like, train people to breathe. And, can you do that online? Yes, you can. I have proven that. And it works. And you will see today that I can provide you with tools. You can go home, you can use them, and I really, really believe it will help you. So the point in doing this is we need to create awareness. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, and I'm doing it in English now, not just in Danish. We need to create awareness that it is okay to be scared. There's a lot of people out there being scared of riding. And in most circles, you don't talk about that. You just get along the best you can. And maybe you say, no, my horse is not in shape, or no, oh no, I have to go a dinner appointment or something like that. If people want to do something with you that challenges you too much. I know I've been making excuses for myself and my horse for many years. So we try to uphold some sort of facade that, well, everything is fine, but deep inside, well, I was pretty much scared, and I know a lot of you are too. What really made me realize that there's a long way to go still was the weekend before last, I was doing a live confidence clinic. And one of the attendees, she wrote on the evaluation, she wrote that it had been wonderful to be somewhere where it was legal to be afraid, where it was okay, because back at her barn at home, it wasn't something she talked about. It was just something, well, get over with it, get it done. And I just, this week I started a new online course in Danish. And one of the participants said, oh, she was just so tired of being everybody just going, oh, come on, go. You just have to get on the horse and go. Stupid. And it's just not that easy. I usually compare it with, well, if you're scared of heights or something, or spiders or whatever, something that other people find strange. It's not logical. It's not, well, of course you can have a really, you can have a dangerous spider, and you can have a building that's not safe to go into, or a bridge that is not safe to cross, as well as you can have a horse that is not safe to ride. But most riders who are scared even if they are on a safe horse, or a relatively safe horse. So it's not rational, it's not something logical. It is like being scared of heights. It just comes, and people who hasn't had that feeling doesn't necessarily understand it. And that's why I do this, because I want to be able to help you. I want to create a safe environment where it is okay to be scared, because you have to be okay with it to be able to work with it. Yeah. So I would like to ask you, I have a little poll over here, and I would like to ask you, what is holding you back? Is there anything that is holding you back from doing what you want to do with your horse? Are you always holding back on doing stuff you would like to do? Is it only like trail riding or going to competitions? Or do you go but feel scared all the way? Or can you do whatever you want to do with your horse? So please feel free to answer the poll. I'll keep it open for a little while. Yeah. So while you have a minute to answer the poll, I will tell you a little bit about what we're going to do now, what I'm going to be telling you about, because I have this, my program is pretty much a 4-part program. I work with learning and behavior, how to build a safe horse, because if we don't have a safe horse, well, it's really hard to work on being unafraid and being comfortable and confident on the horse. Then I have the we look at the physical fear and how to work with it. I will not be saying much about training horses today. I will be speaking a bit about the physical fear and how to work with it, because we will be talking a lot about breathing. And then I have the part about the practical training. When you go out and do stuff with your horse, how do you keep training in a way that will make you confident? And we will be talking a lot about that. And finally, the fourth part of my program is goal setting and getting there. We talk a wee bit about that, but not much. So that is I will be mentioning later my 4-part program, and that is the 4 parts. The understanding, the learning and behavior of the horse, the understanding of the physical fear and how to work with it, the practical training, what can we do when we go out there and do training, whether it's groundwork or it's written work, how can we work with it? And finally, the goal setting and getting to the goals, because we need to keep advancing. Yep. So what we can do when we want to regain confidence, we have 3 areas we can work in. The first one, we can work on the environment, because if it's rainy or stormy, or we go to the trails, or we have to ride along the high road or something like that, we have a difficult environment. We can make a setup that makes the environment easier to handle and less scary. So that is a possibility. We can also, I'm just going to end the poll. We can also work on the horse. And as I said, I won't be talking much about working on the horse today, but that is, of course, a factor. And we can work on ourselves, and that is what I'm going to be talking about mostly today. When I said this about working on the horse, we won't be doing much of that. One of the things we can do is, if you're really scared and you have a horse that isn't really safe, you can't rationally go and say to yourself when you're sitting at home in your couch in comfort, well, my horse is safe. Maybe you can borrow another horse. Maybe you can go have lessons on a safe horse. Maybe you can swap the horse, do something for a while that can give you back the confidence on another horse. You can practice some of these things we're going to talk about today on another horse, and then you can go back to the more difficult horse. That can really be a big help. The environment, that could also be going from riding the horse to doing groundwork with the horse, and then getting the confidence back during the groundwork, and then go ride the horse. But that is what we're going to primarily be focusing on tonight. So that's the you part. And one of the really important things we have to work with here is, I'll just have to go and get this working. There it goes. And I'm going to show you a slide, because what we have to be aware of is that we have something called a comfort zone. And inside the comfort zone, that's where we are feeling safe, where everything is okay, our heart rate is down, the blood pressure is down, everything is okay. What happens if we have been scared for a long time? Usually the comfort zone will shrink if we doesn't challenge it. And what actually happens is that we might go from being able to go trail riding to trail riding only in a walk, to riding only in the arena, to riding only in the arena if the weather is calm, to riding only in an indoor arena, to almost only going to feed and care for a horse and not doing riding at all. And that is because the comfort zone will shrink if we doesn't challenge it. But it will also shrink if we challenge it too much. I'll show you. So what we have here is the comfort zone. Over here we have a normal situation. The green one in the middle here, that's the comfort zone. Then we have the yellow one, which is the zone for development, or the learning zone. And then we have the red one out here, that's the danger zone. We don't want to go there. We can't avoid ever going to the danger zone. But you shouldn't go there on purpose, and you should try to work to come back to either the development zone or the comfort zone if you go there. If we don't challenge our comfort zone and we don't do anything to become less scared, the comfort zone will shrink. Everything will become going in. So what we have to do is, when we're training, we should start in the comfort zone. Establish a starting point where you feel safe. Then we can go out here in the development zone, in the learning zone, do some work, go back to the comfort zone to consolidate, go out there for a bit again, get back in, consolidate, calm yourself down, and get out a bit for a back and end up in the comfort zone. If we push ourselves too much and we end out in the danger zone, we'll just have to take ourselves right back. If we keep running around out here, that is what leads to stress or depression. And that could also be in your work life or something else. You have to, if you're always in the danger zone, if you're always on the verge of some sort of panic or always on a high stress level, you will exhaust your body, you will exhaust your mind. So you have to work on a way to move from the danger zone into the comfort zone in all aspects of your life. Very often, fear of riding is combined with some sort of a mental, some stress, depression, something like that, something at work not working, something in the family life not working. And it accelerates each other. So what we want to do is we want to challenge, establish points in the comfort zone where we can work, challenge the comfort zone a bit, but not too much, and go back and consolidate. And then we will see that these zones will be expanding. So we will be able to do a lot more, and we will be able to do gradually more and more if we keep remembering to challenge the comfort zone. This awareness of the comfort zone, that was one of the really big eye-openers for me. And one of the things that made me say, well, I need to do something about being scared, because it was during my my instructor course as I was studying to become a riding instructor, and we were having a clinic, and one of my fellow students, she had brought her horse for the clinic, and she was going to ride him. She brought him into the indoor arena. He hadn't been there before, and she just took him in and got up. And I was like, oh my, you can't do that. That's dangerous. You had to walk him around the arena for a bit. And what if he spooks? But she knew her horse and he was perfectly safe and there was no problem. And I was getting scared just by her getting on the horse. And that made me realize, well, now my comfort zone has gotten so small that it is really inhibiting me from doing the things I want. If I can't even look at other people riding without getting scared, how will I ever help them teaching, and how will I ever improve my own riding? So that gave me some sort of an inspiration to say, well, I have to go and do something. I really have to. So when we had to do some lunch work in the evening, I volunteered to be the one to go over to the stable and find the biggest, brownest horse and bring into the arena and take her for a lunching lesson. Because I knew I had to work. And I kept telling myself on the way to the stable, well, my teacher wouldn't tell me to take a dangerous horse. She wouldn't tell me to take a horse that wasn't safe. It's going to be a nice horse. And it was a nice horse, but it was a big challenge. But I learned from it, and having this focus and always pushing your limits for a bit, because I were at the point where I could only ride in the arena, and if the weather was too bad, I didn't ride. So the comfort zone shrinks if we're not aware of it. Yep. So how do we do this? Because it's all very well for me to sit here and say, well, you just have to go out and do a bit of work in the development zone and then get back to the comfort zone. Yeah. But sometimes if you're unconfident, if you're scared, the edge from if you have the comfort zone here and you have the development zone here and then you have the danger zone, often the development zone is very, very thin. That isn't very far from being in the comfort zone, what is okay, to being out in the danger zone, which is not okay. You go there very fast. So we have to find a way to keep you in the comfort zone or in the development zone. And the first and most important part is your breathing. Very, very many people, especially women, breathe only in their upper body. You have to breathe in your tummy as well. I have a really good exercise. If you, tonight when you go to bed, lay down on your back, put a book on your stomach, and the book should go up and out as you're breathing in and breathing out and breathing in and breathing out. Because then you're breathing probably all the way down. Of course, the air doesn't go into the tummy, but since the diaphragm is going down when the lungs are expanding, it will keep all your and push on all your intestines, and the stomach will have to go out. Some people worry that will make them look fat. And yes, it will make you look a little bit more fat, but if that is what it takes to be able to get on the horse and breathe properly, well, I think it's worth it. Then you'll just have to do some tummy exercises to tuck it back in. That's a win-win. So instead of keeping your air in and keeping tight, practice breathing and start practice breathing inside your comfort zone. Practice it at home in the living room. Try practicing it right now. If it's hard to breathe out properly, try an exercise. You can also do that on your horse, but it's good to have tried it at first at home or somewhere where you feel safe. You can imagine that you're breathing out through a straw, a drinking straw. So you just and then naturally, after you have been emptying your lungs all the way, the lungs will say, we need to take in a lot of air, and they will expand. They will also expand in the chest area, but they will also expand in the tummy. So you will get a good in-breath of air. And start practicing that. If we sit on the horse and don't breathe, the horse won't breathe properly either. So you have to, if you can breathe properly, you will help the horse keep relaxed. So that is one of the key points to keeping the the horse happy and confident is to keep breathing. And it really, really helps. One of the things I do to remember to keep breathing is I imagine that in my tummy there's a balloon. And this balloon, I have to blow it up and deflate it. And blow it up and deflate it. And blow it all up and deflate it. Every breath I take. My balloon even have a color. You can pick any color you want. Some people also imagine they have a lift, an elevator going up and down every time they breathe. Just something to give you a mental picture to work with. You can also count your breathing, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Breathe in, breathe out. Whatever works. I like the mental picture. But I'm very visual, so I like the mental pictures. Maybe you can imagine the feeling or counting how many counts for in breaths, how many counts for out breath. You can also count if you walk with your horse, whatever you're on his back or you're on the ground, count how many steps on an out breath, how many steps on an in breath. That will keep you focused, and it can also say something about, are you calming down? Because the in breaths get longer when we are calm than when we are not calm. So imagine this breathing. This exercise, this simple exercise, actually took me, after I learned that from being a spectator at a clinic with a really, really good English instructor called Amanda Barton. She did this. Oh, good question, Debbie. When I say tummy, I mean abdomen. Yes, the part around your navel has to go out. That is my English. That is not good enough. So I mean the abdomen down here. I can just step up. You can see what I mean. See, when I breathe, my hands here, just around my belt is here, just around and above my belt. Will have to come out and go in if I breathe properly. And of course, I don't ride around all the time thinking about my breathing, but whenever I get a bit nervous, I come back to the breathing because it helps me. It does two things. It calms me down physically, and it calms my horse down. And if I spend a lot of mental resources imagining my balloon going out and going in and going out and going in, I have less mental resources left for being scared. And that is, it sounds stupid, but it works. You can trick your mind into not being so scared by focusing a lot on your breathing. And that's a really, really good trick. So I've been to this clinic where I learned this technique. I watched she instructed some other really, really scared riders, and I actually took this exercise, just the breathing, and I went home and I was able to go up on horses and go out and ride in the open field for the first time in 4 or 5 years. I started on the old reliable one, but I got out there and we even had a little canter. And then a week or so later, I could take the younger one and go out there and breathing and breathing and breathing. It probably wasn't pretty, but I did it and I expanded my comfort zone. Because this is one of the basics to be able to start expanding the comfort zone, because focusing on the breathing actually in itself expands the comfort zone, because it increases the amount of things you can do without getting too scared to be out of reach for learning. So breathing is really important. I'm just reading. Debbie, I understand your question. Yeah, I just stand up again. I focus on my breathing here, but below my ribs and somewhere around here. So just below the ribs, I focus on my breathing. And that is probably right. My stomach is probably somewhere around here. So yeah, just below my ribs. The important thing is that I'm not doing it all up here. What we usually would see is that you can see even when I do this, actually, my stomach, what I call my stomach, will go in when I take an in breath because everything is going up. And my camera just have to refocus, sorry. So you have to be, the breathing has to be not just the rib cage expanding, but the diaphragm and the bottom of the rib cage going down and pushing your stomach, intestines, whatever is below your ribs a bit out to allow room for the intake of breath into the lungs. Yeah, hope that made sense. So imagine goody. We cleared up the anatomy. That was the breathing. Then I just had to refine my focus. That's what we're going to talk about now. Because when we do the breathing, that will help us. Another really, really important trick, and that is from the practical training part of my, this here was a bit about the physical fear, how to work with that. During the practical training, this breathing is of course also practical. By the way, if you do yoga or Pilates or something like that, they will work on breathing as well, and that will really, you can learn some really great breathing exercises there that will help you breathe on your horse or with your horse as well. So the next part we're going to talk about, that's focus, because another really, really powerful tool is focus, and that is both mental focus and physical focus. When you go do something with your horse, if you have a plan, and if you have, while you do it, something to look at to keep your direction and to keep you on track, it will help you immensely. For some people, imagining where to go. I'm going to show you exercise in just a little bit involving some poles. And I have had students who just had imaginary poles in their arena and they were riding around the imaginary poles. You can do that, but it is a lot harder than actually putting the poles or the cones or the buckets or the barrels or whatever out there to have them to go around. Because then you actually have a physical focus and it's really easy to keep on track where you want to go, are you going there, and where are you going next. And it also gives some clarity to the horse. So I'm going to show you an exercise. This is my favorite. I do call it the focus flower. If I can catch my mouse here, there. So what we have here, this blue one over here, that's the balloon. the breathing we just talked about. What we have here is a picture of a 20 by 40 meters standard short dressage arena. So this is 20 meters from here to here, something like that. You can do it a bit smaller, you can do it a bit larger. 20 meters, that's like 60 feet. And what we have here are poles, standard jumping poles, logs, whatever can do it. Buckets, cones, barrels. The point is, you need to have a reasonably sized perimeter circle you can walk with your horse. And this works whether you're riding him or training him from the ground. That doesn't matter. You have the circle, you can walk the circle. Then you can do a smaller circle. Then you can go over a pole. Then you can do another circle. Then I'm just going to take the color away. Then you can do figure eights. Figure eights are really awesome, by the way. Also as a training exercise, because it really allows you to find out, is my right better than my left? Or is something else uneven in my training? And it gives the horse a sense of control and predictability. He knows what is coming up next. It is a really good exercise to calm down a slightly nervous horse and to get him relaxed, because he knows what is going to come. He knows now he's turning right, and then he's going round here, and now he's turning left. It's a really good calming exercise. And it also calms the rider. And this, having something to focus on, really helps both rider and horse. Another thing you can work with is, if you go from here, if you say you're on the big circle, then from here to here you focus on the breathing. Then from the next pole to the third one, you focus on the steering of your horse. Then from the third one to the fourth one, you focus on the breathing. Then again, you focus on the horse. And you focus on the breathing. So you have like a quarter of a circle where your focus will be the breathing. Then you can focus a bit on the horse. Then you go back to focus on the breathing, because then the more you do this, the more you keep focusing on the breathing as you go, the longer into the next exercise, the breathing, the good breathing, will persist. In the beginning, whenever you stop thinking about the breathing, it will go back up into your upper body, or into the upper part of your upper body. But the more you work with it, the longer you can keep up the good breathing. So after some work, you will probably be able to, if you have a quarter of a circle with focus on the breathing, and then the quarter of a circle would focus on either the pace of the horse, or the gait, or how he positions his legs, or something like that, the good breathing will persist. And then actually you can do entire circles where you keep breathing. So this combination of focus on wherever you're going and focus on the breathing will help calm you down and will help calm down your horse. And then you have to make this, because you have to find out where you can start to be comfortable. As I mentioned, I did this clinic the other weekend, and one of the riders, well, we had to take her and the horse into the arena, and she had to go from the ground for like 25 minutes and walk this horse around. In the beginning, walking figure eights was too difficult. The horse didn't have any stop signal on the rein. So we had to install the stop signal from the ground first on the rein, so that she would have any reason to believe that she would have a stop signal when she got on the horse. And we would have to walk them around. In the beginning, they were only doing circles because doing figure eights were too difficult. Then we could do figure eights. And then we could put the saddle on, and then the stress level had gone up a bit again. And then we could do some more figure eights, and then we got her in the saddle. And then we could start with me holding the horse, going around, doing the figure eights again, because that was a big safety measure, both for her and the horse, to have this predictability of the figure eight. And slowly I could release the rein and let her do the steering. And then slowly I could go farther and farther away from her. And in the end of the lesson, she was riding the figure eight on her own. But the conclusion for her was that she should go home, and we actually made a deal that for the next month, she would only be training the horse from the ground and establishing a really good connection and some trust in that horse. It was a really lovely horse, but when she got nervous, and her husband, who was training the horse as well, when he got nervous, the horse got nervous because everybody around it was nervous. And that's quite reasonable horse. But it was a very soft and lovely horse who was just trying to please. But they kept building up the stress momentum. And you have to find out, well, are you helping your horse become more stressed? Are you helping your horse become less stressed? And find a situation where you can start working with your horse, training your horse, where both you and your horse are comfortable, and where everything can work, and you can work on challenging your comfort zone, where you can keep focusing on your breathing, where you can keep focusing on what you're doing. Now, if you, some of you in the poll, you said yes, but only specific situation. And maybe some of these specific situation, feel free to mention any in the chat. Maybe these specific situations, or the one of you who are scared but go anyway, maybe you can make a setup that, well, if you go out of the arena, you can't take the poles with you, but then you can just make other things, like I'm going over to that tree in a walk, and then I'm going to make a halt, and then I'm going over to that tree, and then I'm going to turn left, and then I'm going to make a snake line for a while up the road, and then I'm going to trot from this stone up to that stone, so that you really make some sort of system of focus in your head, even though you're out of the arena, because that will help you to keep focus on where are we going, what do you want the horse to do. He will have a clear job, and it will be easy for you to know if you are in control or if you're not in control. And if you're not in control, well, you will have to work on getting it back. One of the things I haven't mentioned is that our brain, it works in a way that it cannot understand the word can't or not. So if I tell you that you are not allowed to think about a pink elephant, what happens in your heads? I know what happens in mine. So if you think, I will not fall off, 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 while you're riding your horse, your brain hears fall off, I will fall off, I will fall off, and you get tense. My horse mustn't run away, my horse mustn't run away. The brain hears horse run away, horse run away. Maybe so loud that even the horse will hear it and start thinking, oh, well, I better go. So what you should train instead is this thinking about what you want to happen. I want to have a comfortable ride. I want to have a comfortable ride. I want to have a comfortable ride. My horse is walking nicely. My horse is walking nicely. Now we're going to have a nice hold. We're having a nice hold, whatever. But keep thinking in the I want this to happen way. It works in every aspect of your life, by the way. If you can start thinking about what you want to happen instead of what you want to avoid, that is a really, really powerful tool. Because then you have a plan, then you have direction. That's one of the things we'll talk a lot about in the program when we talk about your motivation. It's one of these direction things. Yeah. But keep remembering, the brain doesn't know the word no or don't. So focus on what you want instead of what you want to avoid. Yeah. And that brings me to the next part, because I want you to do a small exercise now. I have presented you with theory I want you to go through, and now I want you to do something for yourself to increase the benefit of this webinar. I want you to sit down, close your eyes, and imagine if you weren't scared, if you were confident on your horse, what would you do? And please feel free to write it in the chat, or you can just keep it to yourself. It's all up to you. But take a little while to close your eyes and imagine, what would it feel like? What would you really like to do with your horse? And what would that feel like? Or what would it sound like? Or what would the smells be? Or how could you feel the hoof beat or whatever? Just get that really strong imaginative feeling of doing that. Because if you do this, and you can do this in the evening before you go to bed, you can do this in the morning when you're getting out of bed, when you're brushing your teeth, whatever. If you imagine this once a day, twice a day, whenever you remember to, you will help to keep yourself motivated, and you will help bring your brain to believe that, well, maybe this is possible. You will give the brain a feeling of training, riding, doing something with a horse without being scared. So the brain will actually start to believe it's a possibility, and it will help you. It's kind of a meditation exercise. It will help you go out and be more motivated to do whatever is necessary with your horse to become more confident, to regain this confidence, the feeling you had. It's actually giving these webinars and working with what I do with all these scared riders, it's plain crazy, because if anybody were this scared of playing football or golfing or whatever, they would just quit. They would just go to the stadium on Sunday and have a beer and a hot dog and cheer on at the guys down at the field. They wouldn't keep playing. I don't think so. I haven't heard about what being this scared of soccer or bicycle race or whatever. These horses, they give us something unique. They have, at some part in our lives, they have given us some experiences that were so valuable that we keep clinging onto them. I know a lot of people who have kept horses for years and years and years, and the only thing they do is feed them and take care of them and say, well, maybe one day we will ride. But they don't do it because they're too scared. But they keep the horses, and they keep dreaming that maybe someday, one day, they will get back on. But if they don't start taking action, if they don't start getting out there, taking the steps to expanding the comfort zone, it won't happen. This being scared of riding, being unconfident, it doesn't just go away overnight. And usually, if you just go buy a new horse and doing something, thinking, well, this horse was stupid, I buy a new horse. Usually what happens, if you don't work with yourself, the unconfidence will come with you to the new horse, even if it was a nice horse. And over time, that horse will actually become less confident on his own, because he has normally a really unconfident rider, and then things will just get worse from there. So getting a new horse, a really cool, nice well-behaved, safe horse can be a really good idea, but you need to work on yourself at the same time to make that swap to that other horse a success. I got a new horse last year, and I have been told so good by the owner and by my old riding instructor where he has been living that this was a really safe horse. So I believed them, but I had also been spending at that time a couple of years working on myself. So I was ready to that new horse, and he has been great. He's really been taking me far because now I can feel safe. And I'm just going to read your comments. Yeah, as Terry put it, most sports don't involve working with this animal. No, it doesn't. And we have to work with this animal. That's also why in the online training I will tell you about in a minute, some of the emphasis, one of the parts is the learning of and behavior of the horse, because we have to train our horses to be safe, to be controllable. We have to have brakes, we have to have steering, we have to have the gas, so we can control the horse. Because if the horse is dangerous to ride, then working on your mindset is not enough. Oh, good question. A precipice, that's like if you're on a hillside and it's going steep down, I think. That would scare me. I think I would work on, first of all, I would have to know that this horse was reliable, that the track was reliable. Maybe I would walk there first. And then I would use the breathing, focus on the breathing, focus on going these 10 feet, then the next 10 feet. I have done this. I have a great fear of heights, and you just talking about riding next to a precipice, if I understand the word correctly. I don't think you would get me to do that. But of course, if I knew the horse was safe and you go there every day and stuff like that, well, you might be able to convince me. But I would do that. I would really work on my balloon in my tummy, taking the balloon up and down and up and down. And I've done this. I had to cross a bridge over a river once. We could have gone the other way around, but we did this, and I did the climbing up the stairs, and I was breathing, and I was going over, and I was really, really tunnel vision. When we were almost at the other end, I could stop and I could look at the river, and it was okay. But I would focus on preferably the tail of the horse ahead, and the breathing, really, really, really the breathing. And imagine, yeah, I know. I would be really, really scared if I had to do that. But I would work with the breathing. It works. It works. I hate heights. That is just, and that's plain stupid, because most of the time, heights aren't dangerous. Going on a track like that might actually be dangerous. But I would work on the breathing. Take the breathing with me. And I would work on the breathing in advance. So I would do that. I would make up, it's the environment. If you have to go along that track, you can't make a change to that environment. But you can go back to an easy environment and train the tools that you will need to use here. So you have to check, is my steering working? Can I control my horse? Is he sure-footed? Can I do my breathing exercises? Can I imagine my balloon or my lift going up and down? Can I use my focus to say, well, we go these 10 feet and then we go these 10 feet? Because then you can put it all together. And then when you're ready, you can go say, okay, now we go this track. And maybe you can find an easier track to start. Because if we have trained here at home, in the arena, in the very safe environment, and then we go all the way over here to a really, really difficult environment, our training might not be good enough. If we could find steps along the way to challenge ourselves and then do the really difficult one, it will be a lot easier than just going from here and to here. But that is one of the things, that is like the goal setting and the getting there part we do there. Well, time is running. I will answer more questions in the end, but I want to tell you about what I can do for you if you want more. Because this was just, it's some of the most important part of the program, but it's still just a small part. So I have an offer for you, because I have this online training. I'm doing it next Saturday, Saturday the 30th, at the same times as today. It's a 2.5 hour. It's a 2.5 hour session, online, live, like this. Of course, you will be able to go, we will have a break in the middle where you could go have a glass of water or stretch your legs, whatever you need. You can have we have this 2.5 hour. The price is just under $100. And now some of you might think, well, but how do I keep motivated? Because one of the things I said in the beginning was you have to go out there and want to do it. What I do for all my online courses is you will have a Facebook group. So the moment you sign up here, you will be, when the payment is proved, you will be sent a link to a Facebook group where you can connect with the other people joining this online training. You can share your difficulties, you can share your successes, you can ask questions, and I can keep track on you to see how are you doing, how are things advancing, are you having difficulties, is there something special, even before we have the 2.5 hour training next Saturday, is there something special I should be sure to cover? And afterwards, I know questions will arise. You will begin working with your horses, trying stuff out. So approximately a week later, I will find the appropriate date and time with the people on the live training. Approximately 1 week later, we will have a Q&A session, about an hour. I will be telling you a bit of more theory or tools, and you will be able to ask all your questions, and I will answer them. And then 2 weeks later, we will have another one, because then you had time to implement stuff, try stuff, find out what is working, what isn't working. And of course, you can always get help in the Facebook group, but it gives something else. Yeah, Debbie asked about the cost. It's just below $100 US. I think most of you watching are from the States. So if you're outside EU, there's no tax, then it's approximately $100. It is 80 pounds or something if you're in England. And it's 750 Danish kroner. But it will tell you at the link, because it depends, of course, on your currency and whether or not you're outside the EU, whether there's VAT or taxes or whatever. But I think that is, at least around here, that is like 2-3 lessons. You will have this 2.5 hour live training session. You will have the Facebook group. And as I said, one of the parts of these 4 parts, first part, it was the learning and behavior part. And I have made a couple of videos like this one, online training videos about learning and behavior. And they are uploaded to the site. So they are instantly available the moment you have signed up. You will get access to those. There's also a handout with some exercises, some scorecards you can do for your horse to find out how good are his controls, how good are stuff working. And that's one of the part we're doing in the when we talk about the goal setting and the getting there. One of the things, really important things, is to keep track on how things are going. Because sometimes when we've been having really big troubles with something, then when we get back on track, 2 months later, we're standing here having some sort of problem. And we think, oh my, isn't this stupid, or isn't things going bad? But then if we can check our notes or old videos or whatever, and go back and have a look at the horse and what we and the horse were doing like 2 months ago or 6 months ago, we will see we have made huge progress. But just the last 2 weeks have been going a bit backwards. So that's why the keeping track part is really important, and that's why one of the starting exercises is to keep track of where you are right now. Debbie asks a really good question. Will the videos be something you can watch over and over again? Yes, it is. Both the live training, the Q&A, and the learning and behavior videos. And I will also, these learning and behavior videos, they are like this one. It's a lecture. I will be during the next week, so that is before the the 2.5 hour live session next Saturday. I will be shooting some practical training videos in the arena with some of the horses to show you how things are done practical, because it's all very well for me to sit and talk to you like this. Sometimes it's also nice to see a video of things being done. I find that is especially the case when we talk about the learning theory with positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement and how you do that and timing and stuff like that. The breathing exercises are a lot easier because they involve you and not so much the horse. So there will be some practical videos as well. I will be shooting them probably this weekend, but before next Saturday. And then the final question you could ask is, well, but can you learn this? Well, ask yourself, did you benefit from this webinar? Did I teach you something valuable? It is like this. There's 2 time slots, 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. next Saturday, Danish time. So figure out which one would suit you best, depending on where in the world you are. If you can't make it live, write all your questions to me or specific topics you would like covered, either on email or in the Facebook group, and I will make sure to answer them and cover them. And then you will, of course, have the video. But I think either one would be suitable. Then, of course, maybe if you have to go to a party, or if you have to do something else, that, of course, can be a problem. And the Q&A session, the 2 following Q&A session, I will schedule them in consultancy with all the attendees. So we find if I have to schedule 3 different number 1 Q&A sessions and 3 different number 2 Q&A sessions, I'll do that. I want you all to be able to attend live. And then, well, does it work? Yes, I have been doing this for almost a year now in Danish, and it works really well. What is important is that you want to do something about it. Imagine that you have what you wanted to do before, and think, well, do you really want to go there? Do you need more help to get there? Maybe you can just take the breathing and the focus and it will help you enough. Maybe you need more help. Maybe you have a good riding instructor that you trust in nearby that can help you. You could show this webinar to your riding instructor and say, well, I want to work with these tools. But I will also provide this as an opportunity for you to go out and get some help and get an online community. That's one of the things I really find help people. It's to have this community where you can go, where you can feel safe, where you can ask all your stupid questions. There are no stupid questions, but sometimes in other horsey communities, it is thought of as being stupid questions, because if you ask someone who has never been scared of riding, they won't understand and they would think it's stupid. Debbie asks for the in-depth live training. Oh, Debbie's question disappeared. I think Debbie was asking something about the 2.5-hour live session. At the moment, I'm not rescheduling that. I probably, depending on how this goes and if there's interest and stuff like that, I'll probably be doing this again sometimes in the fall. But if you want to do it right now, go ahead, sign up, watch the 2.5-hour session on video, but send me all the questions you might have or topics you might want to have covered up front. And of course, you can watch these videos again and again. Today, I will be later today, or probably tomorrow, I will be sending you a link to the directly to the YouTube video of this, so you can go forwards and backwards and go over all the points you want to cover. And I will be doing exactly the same for the 2.5-hour video and for the Q&As, following Q&A sessions. So you can watch them as you like. And there is only, at both sessions, there are only 20 seats, because I want to be able to answer all the questions and I want to be able to give you a good follow-up. So there's 20 seats available at both times. So I think there was a question about the horse from Tom. Does the horse see the danger of the precipice? Honestly, I don't know. I think the horse sees it as something to be aware of and something to take care of. I think the horse is pretty much aware that it would be a bad move to fall down there. But I am not sure whether the horse, the horse is, they don't get scared the way we do. They get scared from things that are sudden, or of course things that are stressing them all the time, but they don't if they go close to something they think are scary, they could be scared of being trailered and scared of being in the trailer, and that would, of course, if they were scared of falling down, that would be the same. But they don't think the way we do. So the horse won't, it will be aware that he has to be careful about that, but he will not be thinking, oh, what happens if I fall down? Oh, what happens if I fall down? When he's scared of the trailer, it's because it's uncomfortable at the moment. He's in a small box. It's rumbling around. He doesn't know what's going on. On the track, along the precipice, he knows what's going on, and he takes care of his feet, and it will be okay. I think it's a bit like going through water or something like that. Some horses are scared, and then when they learn it is okay, they'll just do it. But of course, you can have horses that say, well, that's too narrow, I won't go there. Like going over bridges or something like that. And I think it will take, of course, the horse can get spooked and stuff, but I think it will take a lot of spooking to have a horse spook over the edge of something like that. Yes? Are there any more questions? Because if there aren't any more questions, I think we will wrap it up. If you feel free, take the time to consider whether you want to join this online training session next weekend. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. You can just answer the link mail you got in here, and then I'll get back to you. And you can email me about the course, or if you have a specific problem, I will try to answer you. No problem. You can also find me on Facebook and ask questions there. So I hope you learned something. I hope it has been a help. I hope that going out here, thinking about the breathing, thinking about the focus, focusing on what you want to happen instead of what you don't want to happen, and trying to set up the environment so you can start somewhere safe where both you and your horse feel comfortable. Yes? So go out there, start enjoying your horse, start training yourself and your horse to regain the confidence and regain the fun, because riding is supposed to be fun. That's why we do it. But if you're scared, it's no fun. So go out there, get back the fun. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your questions.